Hi. Welcome to our YouTube channel. So if you are new to our YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe so that you'll get notifications whenever we upload new videos. And don't forget to click on the bell icon so that YouTube will send you a notification about the newly added videos. So we are working on actually this is our second video in the series where exploring the Java based quiz questions. So in the previous video we have done one sample quiz, and we have found another question. Actually this code is taken from leetcode.com website. It has really interesting and great puzzle questions. So we took one question from that website. So let me explain the question first. So the question is saying, the question is asking, we'll be given a string, and we are going to tell the count of the longest consecutive characters. What I mean is, let me open a notepad. Let's increase the font a little bit. So assume the given word is A B C A, A B A B, or A B A C. Okay, so what we are expected to do is to see each character and find out the length of the maximum subsequent or the maximum substring. So substring means consecutive characters, okay, without a break. So right now, what the answer for this one is going to be 2, because the length of the longest subsequent or the longest substring is 2, because we are not counting duplicates. In fact, if we found duplicates, we have to start recounting. In this example, A1, B2, then A. So A is duplicate with this, so we are going to stop counting. Maximum is 2, we're going to start counting again. So A is duplicate with this one, we'll drop A. So we'll start counting from B again. B, A, C, right? So now the longest number is 3. So we have to return 3. Okay, let's take another example. So if we are given this word, let's say, so if this is the word, then what we should do is we're gonna start counting from P, 1, 2, 3. Now W is duplicate with this one, so we are going to ignore P and W because W is already duplicated here. So we're gonna start from here. P is not duplicate, but we can't count P jumping W because we are not now we are counting substrings. So substrings has to be consecutive characters. So if you are jumping W, then we can't count P. So we have to start from K. K, W, D, R, E. So these are a substring consecutive characters without duplicate. So the maximum number is 5. Now let's take another example. ABC, ABC, BB. Now, if this is a given string, what we can do, let's start from A, 1, 2, 3, now another A. So we are going to drop this A and we're going to start from counting from this one. B, C, A, B occurs. So we're going to drop A and B. We're going to start counting from C. C, A, B, C. So C is duplicated again, so we're going to ignore this and we're going to start counting from A, 1, 2, 3. B is duplicated. So if B is duplicated, then we're ignoring A and B all together. Okay, so we're going to start counting from C, B, then B is duplicated. Okay, so we're going to ignore this and B is the only character. So we have stopped counting. What is the maximum length? the maximum length is 1 to 3 or this 1 to 3. Doesn't matter. If we have D here, then this is going to be the longest 4-character substring. So the answer that we are going to provide, or our function, should return the number 4. Okay, so this is the quiz. Actually I'm going to put the link to the question for the LeetCode from the LeetCode website, so you can find the exact question being explained on that website. So now let's go to the solution. Let's try to solve it. So we are going to create a new project on NetBeans. Find longest substring count. Finish. So this will create a new project for us. I think let's try to zoom in or increase the font. I think it's already big enough. I think 18 is enough. Or let's make it 20. It will make our code a little bigger, a little more visible. So there we go. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to count the characters, but while counting we have to check if there is any duplicate from the collected characters, right? So let's start from the duplicate checking. Okay, if we want to duplicate, we can we're going to create a function here, public. We haven't done the counter. We have to add our duplicate check function first. Okay, so public static. We are adding the function static because in Java we are using static as a void main. Otherwise it doesn't matter. So our function is going to return integer value. The integer value means where the item is found, or where the duplicate character is found in the newly collected array. Okay, so let me show you. Let me open Paint, and right now we are going to have 2 arrays. Okay, this is one given array, and we need to create, or we are going to create another array to collect the maximum number of characters. Okay, so in the worst case, what will happen is all the characters in that given word will be unique and no duplicate. So the maximum length is going to be equal to the length of the given array. That's the maximum or the worst case for our array collection. So if this is 5 lengths, then we are going to create an array with length 5. So whenever we read some character here, we have to store it, so that if I come here and find another character, I can check if this character is already counted in our current count. So if it's duplicate, then it should return a duplicate, the index where it is found. So if it's found in here, it will return 0. If it's found here, it will return 1. Okay, so let's go ahead. Check duplicate. So check duplicate function is going to take a string variable, the array that we are going to check a duplicate for. So it's a given array, and another string, the character that we are going to search for, that we are going to check for a duplicate, and let's say this is the array that we are going to check for a duplicate. Okay, so let's assume the given array is 5. So we have a 5 element array. Now the item is already the item is only on the first location. Okay, we have added only one item, so we don't have to check all the empty items. Okay, so we can tell the checking function that how many items should be checked, because unused blocks or unused element spaces, we don't have to check that. It will minimize the cost, and also it will improve the performance of our code. So here we can add length of the array to be checked. We can get, actually we have to make this an array. We can get the length of the array, but we don't have to check all the way through the length of the array. We have to check the number of items added to that array. Okay, some of them will be empty, so we don't have to check the empty array. That's why we added the length column. Okay, so after this, the checking function is going to be, we're going to create a for loop int I0, I is less than, now see, not the length of the array, but the length parameter that we have passed, I plus plus. Now in this function, we can write one if statement. Okay, since it's a string, we are supposed to use equals function, and we are comparing that with the given character. Okay, there is a spelling issue. So here, if this if statement is equals returns true, we can add true here just to make it readable. It's not necessary to add it here. If we left it empty, it will assume it's condition checking for true, but for readability we can add this. So if it is true, then I want to return the location. Otherwise, if the for loop is completed and there is no match found, then this character is not found in this array, which means it's not a duplicate. So I'm going to return -1. So this is our duplicate checking function. Now let's create another function to do the real job. Okay, the check duplicate function is actually an accessory, so let's go for the real one. So the function, let's create public static. It's going to return integer because our main function is going to return the number of characters that are unique and consecutive. Okay, so we're going to call largest substring count. Okay, this function is going to take a string. We will be given a simple string. It's not an array, so we have to change it to an array. We are going to change it to an array. Okay, so we are not actually converting the string to an array, but we can read substring of that array. So if we are reading one string at a time, we are accessing the string as an array. So that's what we are going to do. We are not going through changing it to an array. So now what we need to do is we need to create the new array in our paint explanation. It's not a very good explanation, but in this explanation we said we need two arrays. One array is a given string that will use it as an array, and the second array is the array that we store elements that we use to count. Okay, and check for duplicates as well. If we can't store it, then it will be harder to check for a count for a duplicate from the original given string. Okay, so we are going to create another array. Let's call it characters. We want it to hold characters, string. So the array size is going to be s, or we can make this given array is the variable name. So the length of the new array is going to be the length of the given string. If we are given a string of 10 characters, then the maximum number of items that we'll store in this string is going to be 10, right? Exactly the length of this array, the worst case. Otherwise, few of them will be empty, but we don't mind because we don't want it to be shorter. Okay, rather we'll maintain a bit extra space. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to read one character from this string, and we are going to check for duplicates if that character is already in the array. If it's not, we'll go to the next one. If it's not, then we are going to store it here. So let's create a loop int I equal to 0, I less than given array dot length I plus plus. So in this array, what we are going to do, we are going to check for duplicates. So let's create duplicates index. Let's say this duplicate index will be returned from this function. So in this function, what we are supposed to provide is an array. So the array is this one. I'm going to check for duplicate on this item, on this array, and the character I want to check is the given array. From the given array, we are going to take one character. We are going to use substring. Substring has two functions. I don't need the first one, I need the second one, because I want to specify where to start and where to end. Okay, so on this function, the starting point is I, that's where I am now, and the end is I plus 1, because I want to read one character at a time, always. Okay. Okay. Now the third parameter, I'm supposed to pass the length of the array, of this array. That's how many items are already added, because I don't want to check for the entire length. Okay. So right now we haven't stored anything, but we need to create an index variable here and start it from 0. And every time we add an item to this variable, we are going to increase this variable. Okay, so let's give it index and we'll increment it somewhere down here. So now if duplicate index is -1, which means the item is not duplicate, because our function, our check duplicate function, is going to return -1 if the given item is not found on the given array. If it's found, it will return the index, which is different from -1. Okay, because because an array starts from 0, we can't use 0, we have to make it -1. So if it's -1, then the variable is not added to, the character is not added to this array. So I'm going to add it here in the index location, because we are starting from index 0, so in the first location. When we come to the next time, it will be the first location, because we are going to increment it. So this is the character we want to store, and index plus plus. So this function will guarantee us that every time, right now what we did is, every time we pick one character from the given array, and if that character is not a duplicate, or if we haven't already stored it in the characters array, we stored it. If we already stored it, we have to do something else, right? Because when we explain it here, let's say in this example, A, B, we stored A and B, and when I come to A is already stored here when I check. Okay, so we have to ignore this and we have to reset our variables, and we have to start counting again from B. Okay, so in that case, what we should do in our else statement is we have to reset the variables. Like, we have to reset index. First of all, index has to be 0, which means our repository has to be reset to the first index. Whenever I want to add an item, I have to replace this one with the new one, because I already know that the items in this array are not have already contains a duplicate. So I'm going to recount, or I'm going to restart counting from the next index. Okay, so the next index means, now be careful, we are using I, and I increments all the time. It doesn't matter if it's duplicate or not. Okay, so we have to fix that. If we are going this way, what will happen is let me use this notepad data. A, B, I checked, so I will be, for this one it's 0 because array starts from 0. This one will be 1. Okay, when I reach the second A, the index is going to be 2, but I want to start from B. I only want to exclude A, and I want to start counting from B, because I might find another combination. It doesn't matter, A is duplicate, means everything is wasted and I have to start from here. No. So I have to reset the index to the next point where I found the duplicate. Okay, next point, duplicate is found in A, so I have to start counting from the next point. Okay, so we have to reset our I here. So what we have to say, what we are going to do is I equal, I means, or I equal to the I that we have minus the index. The index means how many items we have added here. We have to reset, right? If we have added 2 elements here, we have to reset to the first one, and we have to reset here as well, but not exactly to the last point. Okay, last point means here we have to increment it by 1, right? So which means I minus index plus 1. Now I reset index after I used it. Okay, if we reset it previous here, it will be a mess, so we have to be careful on that. And now look, if we reset I to the second index here, now I can store B and start counting again, right? So here I can copy this and paste it here. Now what it means is characters of index means it starts from 0. So now on this scenario, let's assume this is our characters array. So first we have stored A, and then B, and then when we want to start when we want to store A is already a duplicate, so we are going to reset everything and ignore A. So we are going to start from B again. Okay, so we have stored B, and then the loop will continue. This is what we have to do. Okay, so now this only iterates until the end of the given array, but we have to count as well, because we are resetting index. Index cannot be count, because the purpose of our function is going to find the largest substring count. So the largest substring count can be a previous value, which means, let's simplify this one. Let's say this is our given character. So let's say let's count. A, B, no duplicate. C, no duplicate. A, there is a duplicate. So the count without a duplicate is 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So we have to store 3. And we can keep counting. If we found a bigger number than this one, then we have to replace it. Otherwise, we have to keep this number, because at the end of the function, we have to return 3. Because this is the longest. There is no longest combination, character combination after this. So to capture this type of scenarios, we have to create another variable. int max counter. It starts from 0. Now here, every time after index, I can't reset max counter. I'm going to update max counter only when the current index counting is greater than max counter, which means if I found a better length, like here is ABC, and now R. Now if I found BCAR, now this is 4 character. It's longer than this, so I have to replace this and keep counting. If I found 5 characters, right? This is 5 character combination. So then I have to replace this one to 5. My last answer is going to be 5. So for this, before replacing anything, we have to check if index is greater than max counter, then we can replace max counter with index. We have to do this here as well. Okay? Before resetting it, we have to check, because whenever we found any duplicate, we have to check first. So in this case, A, B, C. When I get A, I have to check if I'm going to update this one or not. Because let's say for this ABC we have 3. Now BACAR, it's 4. Now we found B as a duplicate. So before I start recounting for B, I have to update this one to 4. So that's why I did it here and also here. It doesn't matter if it's a duplicate or not. I have to check for the max counter if it's bigger or not. Okay, so this will give me the max counter when the for loop is complete. So after the end of the for loop, I'm going to return max counter. Okay, so this is one scenario. Now another thing that we have to check is that when should we check for duplicate? We have to check for duplicate from our characters when there is an item to check for. So what I can do here, before start checking on this character, first I have to check if I is greater than 0. At least I has to be greater than 0. If I is 0, then I am starting. So there will not be any duplicate, I'm sure. Okay, so we have to check for that. If I is greater than 0, then check for duplicate. Now this one will bring its own problem. So index duplicate will have to be declared outside of the if, because I'm going to use it here. So I'm going to initialize it with -1, and I'll remove the declaration from here. There you go. Now our function will check for duplicate when there is a possibility to check. When there is a possibility to check for. Okay, now we can test our function. Let's test our function. So let's provide let's create an input string. So let's take our examples. AB AC. Now int result is going to be a return from this. So the input is the input for this function. Now I'm going to system.out and print the result. So let's run our application. We expect it to be 2. The return integer should be 3. Sorry, I made the same mistake. It's going to check for AB. Now A is duplicate. It will ignore A. Now BAC. So the return value is 3. So our function is working correctly. Let's try another input. This one. So let's check for it. It's 5 because this is 5. Okay. Let's go for something like if it's a space. What do I get? 1. Okay. Any single character, the function should return 1. Let's go for our function, our check. Now this is 5 because it's counting from here. Now let's try something else. It's a bit difficult choice. Now it should return 3, right? It says 3. So our function passes most of the tests as far as I come up with. Actually, this answer is accepted on LeetCode, so it's probably correct. They usually they try it with 900 or similar test cases. So I hope this function is correct. If you have any comments or points that we missed, or if it fails on any given input that you have tried on, please comment. Put it on the comment section. We'll take a look at it and we'll update our function. So you will get the source code for this function in our website. Our website's address is www.freesampleprojects.com. So go to this website and search for find longest substring count, and I'm sure you'll get the source code. So you can take a sample from there, but I really appreciate if you tried it first. Otherwise, it will make you lazy. You won't have the understanding. Okay, don't write the code from the video, or don't take the source code from the website. Go check it, but don't use it. Try yours first, and if you are successful, then you can go to the website and cross-check. If you have done something better, please comment, put your code on the website. You can comment on the website as well. So please put your code on there, and it will be helpful for others as well. So this is our video. This will be our end. So thank you for watching, and if you like our video, please like it. Hit the like button. Also share it to your friends. And if you don't subscribe, please make sure to subscribe so that you will get a bunch of videos like this. So because we'll keep solving additional problems. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching.